Krok do przodu to podcast dla wszystkich, którzy zajmują się wprowadzaniem zmian. Niech Wam się przyda w zespole, w firmie i we własnym życiu. Nagrania i materiały znajdziecie na okrokdoprzodu.pl. Przyjemności i odkryć życzę. Monika Chutnik. Hello, hello, hello. Today I am recording the first podcast in English, quite unexpectedly, but it's a very nice surprise as well. I have an opportunity to talk to an amazing woman who has spent some time of her professional life in Mexico, working hand in hand in projects with her Mexican colleague. She is working for a manufacturing company in an automotive sector, headquartered in Italy. Herself, she is also an Italian, a very smart, very energetic and a very nice woman, Alessia Serena. Let me invite you to listen to our conversation. Welcome.
Thank you.
In the recording. And we are going to talk about Mexico. And please tell us in the first place, how did you get to Mexico?
Okay, I met Mexicans when I went there for a task force for Magneti Marelli. I went in Juarez, in Toluca, and in Saltillo plants. So I've been there for like 2 years, more or less, and I had the chance to meet a lot of Mexicans for sure, and I'm still in contact with some of them.
That's really a life experience. So you went for work.
Yes, for work, exactly.
And when you say this on a general level, how it is to be working in Mexico and cooperating with Mexicans, what's the most striking for you? What's the most surprising?
I think that the best thing that can happen when you work with Mexicans is that they are really able to make you feel home. Even if you are like miles away from your real home, you feel that you are in a family and you feel great. You can see that you have real friends, not only colleagues. That's really amazing. Yeah.
I heard this very famous Mexican hospitality. So how do they do it?
They just want to make you feel, very comfortable. They want to create a feeling with you. They want to make you feel like part of the family. You're not just there for work. You are there to build a relationship, to know everything about their country, about their culture, and about them. They want you to be your friend. So it's really nice to work with them.
So how does it happen? I will try to make it very specific. Would your colleagues approach you and talk about the country, or would they bring you a coffee, or they invite you for something? I mean, what is it specifically?
They just try to start building a relationship. They just ask you, how are you? What about your weekend? How was your day? And would you like to come out with us to have some drinks? Would you like to spend the weekend with me and my family? We can bring you, to visit Mexico City, to the pyramids, and so on. And in this way, they just build a relationship.
Enjoying the company of you inside the business, inside the organization, but also outside during the free time.
Yes, just like this.
And when it comes to the approach to time in Mexico, as far as I understood, this is a culture where the time flows in a different way than we have it in Poland. So what's the approach to time? How do Mexicans manage this?
The problem with Mexicans is that time doesn't exist for them.
What does it mean?
They have a strange concept of time. So first of all, they work a lot. They start like at 7:30 in the morning, and they can keep on working until 7 or 8 in the night. So they have a very long working day, and they just don't understand deadline. For them, deadlines don't exist. And if they tell you, okay, ahorita, I will do it, you have to know that ahorita means maybe never. Because ahorita in Spanish means right now. But in real life, ahorita means, okay, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, or maybe never. So they have this strange concept of time. It's very hard to work with them in this way, because maybe you set a lot of deadlines, but you have to know that these that deadlines will not be respected at all.
So what's the purpose of having a deadline if it's not going to be, obeyed or respected anyway?
The only solution is to, set fake deadlines. It's the only solution. If you work with them, this is your way to survive. So, for example, if you have the deadline for the 30th of June, you have to set a fake deadline for the 20th of June. Maybe in this way you will be sure to meet your deadline.
So when you have a deadline for the 20th of June, how do you set the fake deadline for which day?
The 10th of June.
Oh, okay.
Like 10th day before.
For example, 10 days before.
Yes,
okay.
10th day before could be a nice solution.
Okay, that's very strange, because from when you say that, because from the Polish perspective, when we think about cooperating with Italy and Italians, we think that your approach to time is relaxed.
I know.
And when you say about cooperating with Mexico and Mexicans, you say that it's amazing. So it's very nice to see this.
Yeah. So you can imagine what can mean for a Polish man or a Polish woman to work with Mexican. So it will be crazy.
So what else would you give as an advice when it comes to the time management? One of it would be like, for example, when we have a project, when we have a deadline, we can try to have a kind of a fake deadline.
Yes.
To be able to come to the finalization at the same stage. What else could work?
You have to push. You have to push a lot. Never leave them alone. Never. You cannot just, for example, arrange a call a weekly call, for example, to understand if everything is going in the right way, because this won't work. Because during the call, maybe they can tell you, oh, yes, don't worry, everything is going the right way. We have no problems. We are on time. Everything is good and so on. But then when it comes to the deadline, you will discover that nothing is on time. They have a lot of problems and so on. So the best thing for me is to be there. I mean, every day have a meeting or have a call with them, ask them to send you pictures or, I don't know, maybe some evidence just to be sure that they are really doing the work that you ask for and they are meeting all the deadlines. This is the only way. And if you discover that they are not doing what they have to do, you have to push a lot, and you have to escalate. It's the only way.
So what I understood from you is that when you want that your thing progresses, in fact, what you say as push is like be in touch daily, be in touch frequently, even more than daily.
Yes.
Check, show that this project is important, and to ask for evidence or something like this. So it's like really put a lot of oil and time into this relationship. This is what you mean.
And also another thing, you have to be very precise on what you want. You have to give them a very detailed action plan with all the things that they have to do with. They're responsible for each action. And, you don't have to say, forget nothing, because otherwise they won't do it.
Okay, so it's good to have quite a detailed list of what you need. And what happens if the situation is turned vice versa? So the Mexican colleagues want something from you, and how do you respond? How do you understand? How is this thing urgent or not urgent, or is it important or not important? How do you get a sense of this?
Okay, so first of all, starting from the fact that they are always more or less in delay, everything is urgent. Because when they ask you something, that means that they are already in delay. So as a matter of fact, you are in delay, because if they are in delay, what you have to do for them is already already late. So you have to speed up everything, because they need it as soon as possible. And if you want that the work will go on, you have to respond as soon as possible.
And when you mean respond as soon as possible, what does it mean in practice?
do the work as soon as you can in the best way that you can, because they will not, let's say, check if the work is done in the correct way or not. They just, receive your work and forward it to the person or to the manager and so on. So you have to be sure that your work is done in the right way, because there will be no more eyes, let's say, to check it. And you have to be sure about your data, about your numbers and so on.
So when you receive a deadline from your Mexican colleague, let's say a Tuesday, please do it until Tuesday, how do you react? Is Tuesday the bidding date for you, or is it something that you can also negotiate?
Usually I don't negotiate the deadline, because as I told you, I know that when they told me, okay, for Tuesday it's already late. So I don't negotiate the deadline. For me, it's okay. I know them and I know what I have to do. I just go on. But if I have to be, let's say, if I have to talk about my experience, I have to say that more or less, I think that I received two deadlines from their side. For the rest of my experience, it was me that were asking them something and not the opposite.
As you were actually the one leading projects there, and also you represented your company, which had an investment in Mexico. So this was the way how it worked for you.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder, my reaction is when you are in delay most of the time, and you have an urgent situations, it's really, it attacks your heart, your blood pressure. It's very stressful.
Not for them.
How do you manage in such a situation?
I was used to this situation. It wasn't stressful for me, and but maybe because I saw them being so relaxed about everything, and I was just in the same mood. Maybe, okay, we are in a hurry, we are in delay. Doesn't matter, we can manage it, no problem. They were like that, and I was like that, me too.
So it's possible to be in a hurry without stress?
Yes.
The Mexican way, that's fantastic.
Yes.
We need to learn this here.
Absolutely.
Yes, maybe we give too much importance to deadlines and, the way. So when we look at the way how the projects are managed, the Mexican way, we have something like a schedule or some milestones and so on. I understand the logic of project management is the same in Mexico, but what's the real approach?
Well, basically, Mexicans don't like to, let's say, take decision, take the lead of the project, and so on. So usually when you carry on a project with Mexican, what they want to do is basically to follow your instruction. So for them, project management it's like that. Follow the instruction from the boss bracket, from the headquarter and so on. Have, as I told you, have a precise, detailed action plan on what to do, and that's it. If they have to take decision, they just call you and they ask for your opinion. They ask you what they have to do. You just have to tell them what to do, and they follow you, and that's it for them.
So this tells me that if you need to follow the instructions from the boss, it needs to be very clear who is the boss.
Yes.
So did you ever experience matrix situations, like, for example, dotted lines and a boss is somebody else? How does this work in Mexico?
Yes, in Mexico there is a very let's say precise hierarchy, and it's quite difficult to understand because talking about, of course, Magneti-Marelli structure. The HR manager, for example, has a direct manager, but also a dotted manager. So he has or she has to follow the instruction from both, and also from the headquarter that is not a direct manager, but it's more or less a manager also in some situation. So actually, he or she can have 3 or 4 or more bosses, so it's not so easy for them to understand what they have to do. And then talking about the specific situation of a task force, they also have to, to follow our situation, our works, our question, and so our requirements. And so it was not so easy, but at the end, they really feel the power of the boss and the power of the headquarters. So if you are there, representing the headquarters or representing an important boss or responsible in Magneti Marelli, they are, let's say, in the right mood to follow you. They will help you. That's good for Mexican.
So, as I draw a conclusion from this statement which you made, is like the headquarters decides. So
we just have to do it because the headquarters decides.
It's about like the distribution of power. But I mean, I imagine if the headquarters is in Mexico, then the Mexican side can expect the other regions to follow, no? So strictly as they are doing, it's just vice versa, the same mechanism.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Did you observe some situations that were specific to Italian people working in Mexico?
Yes. Let's say that the most funny things maybe is the one related to our volume of voice. Because as I understood, working abroad, we have a very high volume of voice, and sometimes people can think that we are angry all the time, but it's not like that. And in Mexico, it was like that. During the task force, there were a lot of Italians, of course, in all the Mexican plants. And, we were there as the headquarters of Magneti Marelli, so they were like a little bit scared from us because, okay, why they are here, what is going on? And then Mexican discovers that we screaming all the time. And for them was like, a shock, because they thought that we were also angry, that we also scream at them and so on. And yes. And it was not easy in the beginning just to, try to understand each other, try to find a good way to communicate with them. And I remember in the beginning, I was there as an HR, so many people of the plant come to my office just to talk and share their feelings. And the beginning of the task force, a lot of employees came to my office like crying and told me, I don't understand. Yes, I don't understand why all the Italians are so angry at me. I don't know what to do, what I can do. They are in the shop floor, they are screaming all the time. What is going on? But it was not like that. It's just our way to communicate. But at the beginning, you don't know each other. You don't know the Mexican culture, and the Mexicans don't know the Italian culture. So it was a matter of, misunderstanding. But now I know how to have to communicate with them, and I just adjust my volume of voice to make them comfortable. So
you speak more quietly with a softer voice?
When I'm abroad, yes.
Yes, we in this cross-cultural area, we talk about expressive cultures and cultures which on the opposite side are not expressive, but I think the name is succinct, something like this. So a more timid, like a more quiet in expression.
Yes.
And I imagine, it sometimes happens, you for example, you use public transport in Poland, and there is a group of tourists, and depending on which country the tourists come from, you can either not notice them at all, or everybody can hear that these are tourists from
Italy, maybe
from Italy, yes, from Germany, yes, from some countries where the expression, the volume is really loud, and people are watching these groups with a bit of an angry look because of the loudness. Yes, it's not elegant to talk so loud. So I understand. And the Mexican colleagues were even interpreting it as anger, as some negative emotions, something like this.
Exactly. But they were crying for real. They were so scared. because they thought that we were angry with them, but it was not like that at all.
So even when you have a conversation on the phone, you also need to watch out for your volume, isn't it so?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you have to be very quiet, very, polite. Otherwise, they can misunderstand the conversation.
And when it comes to...
No, and another funny thing, in Italy, we have a bad habit, because when we talk, we use a lot of bad words, but for us are not bad words. It's like, a slang or a way to talk to each other, especially if you are friends or if you are colleague, you use a lot of bad words. I don't know why, but we used to communicate like that. And in Mexico, after some weeks, they start to understand what we say.
Oh, no.
Yes, and they start to understand that we use a lot of bad words, and for them was just like shocking, because they never use bad words, never. Especially women, they don't have to use bad words. For their culture, women cannot use bad words. And when I was there, they was, hearing at me saying a lot of bad words all the time. They were just shocked. But then they understood the Italian culture, and they understood that we are like that. That's it.
Now I'm thinking still about this phone conversation and the loud talking and, the bad words. And I'm wondering, when you think about emailing or using a messenger or having a phone call or direct contact, what is really the proper way of communicating with Mexicans?
By phone.
By phone.
Yes.
What makes it the proper way? Why is it the proper way?
Because if you send an email, probably they just don't read it at all, because they receive, of course, a lot of emails, and they just don't want to, waste time in reading all the emails of the day. And so they just skip your mail, and that's it. But if you call them, maybe you can start, a conversation with them. You can start asking them, how was your day? How are you? And so on. You build a relation, and then you can go, to the point of the call and ask them for some work or for some collaboration, and it works.
So when you make a phone call with your Mexican colleague and you make this introduction, how are you, and so how much time should you spend on this, building a relationship?
Well, 10 minutes more or less. Yes, because then of course they started to asking you, okay, what about your weekend? Oh, it's all a long time ago since the last time that I heard you. So how was your life, and so on. It's like to talk with a friend. So the conversation is long. So 10 minutes of introduction, more or less, and then you can go direct to the point of the call.
So when you have, for example, pressure in your project, I imagine writing an email is not the right way.
No.
It's always about interpersonal relationship.
Yes.
And really feeling good together and making it visible that something is important.
Yes.
Okay, so I understand that your most experience of working with Mexicans is while you were based in Mexico. But did you also ever experience cooperating with Mexicans as you were based here in Europe, in Italy?
Yes. It was last year. We had a project with a plant in Mexico related to the new structure, the new organizational structure of Magneti Marelli. And I went there in Mexico just for 1 week, just to check the current situation and build an action plan with them. And then I came back to Italy, and I start to, follow the project from Italy. So as I told you, the best thing that I can do is to arrange calls with them, just to be sure that they were going on with all the activities. I set weekly call, but during that weekly call, I asked them to show, pictures about the activities that they are doing, to give me evidence. For example, I asked them to do some trainings and so on. So they send me all the test in, test out, the feedback form, the attendance register, and so on, just to be sure that they really do it. and they are respecting the deadline.
Mm-hmm. How did you manage the time zone difference? What was your way to approach this?
It was not easy because there are like 7-8 hours of difference. So the only way to have a call with them was in the late afternoon of in Italy. So for them the morning, the early morning, that was the only way. But sometime I was available also in the evening or in the night for them. I remember a call at 11 p.m. But it's okay if you have to close a project, you do it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's really, and you said that that people in Mexico really have long working hours.
Yeah.
So what are the working hours in Mexico?
From 7 a.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. more or less.
That's incredible. What about family? I mean, how can you combine this?
The strange thing is that for them, family is very, very important.
Yes,
it's the most important thing for them. And if something happens in their family, if their kids are not good, or if, their wives or their husbands need help, they just stop working and go home. But by the way, they have these very long days at work, and I don't know how, but they are able to manage everything: family issues and work issues.
Perhaps a woman stays at home and a man goes to work. Is this model?
Yes. You can easily find a situation like that. That the woman is taking care about the family, about the children, and so on, and the man goes to work. But there are a lot of women that are working in Mexico.
I ran through some statistics, and I discovered that actually Mexico is the country which with the longest working hours and with the least number of days off. So
yes,
I heard even after you give birth to a child, you only have how much vacation? I think it's like 6 or 7 weeks.
Yes.
It's just
yes, it's true.
I wonder how they manage this. And what I have heard from in one of the projects is that the colleagues in Mexico would not really use an out of office if they are away. Is this the case? Would you also confirm this?
Yes.
Why not?
Like
I mean, what's the reason not to use?
I don't know. Maybe it's just not in their culture. I don't know. It's not an habit for them. Maybe I think it's just like that.
It's not the way you do, simply informing that you are away.
Yes, exactly.
And because anyway, you can call or not.
Yes,
this is an urgent thing.
They're always available. Yes.
So it's simply a different culture, because when you an out of office is a reaction to an email, but an email doesn't matter anyway. I mean, why bother and put an out of office message to it? So what really matters is the phone connection. And is it better to call spontaneously or to have a scheduled call?
Just call. They are happy to hear you, to have a call with you. Just call. Yes.
So maybe sometimes when I cooperate with people from other cultures, I notice I do it. So for example, we are in touch by some messenger or WhatsApp or whatever, and I write, is it okay if I call you now? So I ask for permission, but you say, no, don't do it. You just go.
It's not necessary. Just go, call them. They are always happy to hear you.
And I imagine on vice versa, Mexican colleagues will also expect that I take the call at any time. Isn't it so?
Yes. I told you they call me at 11 p.m. with no problem, because they just thought that I was happy to hear them.
So how could I take care about my, in Europe, we have a bit more of a distinction of working hours and the private time, the taking calls during the private time is in many cases not so, makes it not happy. So how could we approach this?
You have to make them understand the difference between your culture and their culture, that it is the only way. They are really, they want to know your culture and to understand their culture, especially because you are from Europe. they love European. So they want to understand your culture. So if you are, if you want to make them understand that for you, the not working hour are very important, you want to dedicate your not working hour to the family, they can understand.
It's just a matter of a conversation.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So how do you build trust with Mexican colleagues? How does it, how can you make it happen?
It's very easy. Really, it's very, very easy. You just have to become their friend. That's it. But it's really easy because they are really amazing people. Really, they are so kind. Their hospitality is fantastic. So you just have, you just have to think that you are not at work, you are not with colleagues, but you just, in a pub or, I don't know, in a restaurant with some friends, and you are knowing new people. That's it. In this way, you build trust.
It's really by getting to know each other as a human to human, not as an employee to an employee, but as a human to human, and feel good together.
Exactly.
In a way, I work this way too. I mean, it's a little bit of a suffering if you dislike your colleagues and the environment.
Exactly.
So, is there anything that Mexicans hate? Hate at work. They avoid this and
yes. If you ask them not to have a break during the day, if you just them to work and work and work, no, they're going to hate you. But for them, breaks are a must. Maybe that's why their working day are so long, because they make a lot of breaks during the day. They just have coffee, they just have a cigarette, have a conversation about your private life and so on. If you make break with them, everything is good. If you ask them not to make breaks, they are going to hate you, and they won't work for you.
Because in fact, not going for a break with your colleague would mean that your email is more important than the relationship with him or with her.
Yes,
which is an offense in a way. It's just showing indirectly that you don't care.
Exactly.
And when you take a break, how long is it? How long can it be?
It could be also half an hour.
Half an hour, for example.
Yes.
Okay. So it's good to prepare. But for example, when you have a meeting at 3 p.m., what's the real start of the meeting?
Maybe 4 p.m.
Really?
Yeah. No, they are not on. They are never on time.
Until everybody comes to the room.
Or if you have a big meeting with, I don't know, for example, 10 people. 1 hour delay is a must. Yes.
But after this 1 hour, is this the moment when the small conversations begin?
Yeah, for sure. Before the real meeting, you have to talk with them about your private life, building a relationship. Then after half an hour, you can start the real meeting.
Yes. So it's really a skill. It's really a lot about social skills, about feeling good, showing a smiley face. And what if there is some kind of a conflict? How do people from Mexico approach conflict?
No, they try always to avoid conflict. Always. They don't want to have a conflict with you. They prefer to, hide the problem, but be sure that they can have a good moment with you, because they hate conflict. So that's a problem, because many times you are not aware about the problems of the plant, about the problems of the project, because they just want to hide everything and be sure that they don't have conflict.
How do they solve it among themselves? I mean, is it possible to always avoid conflict?
When the things are almost to explode, they came out with the problems and they told you, oh, you know what, this happened like 1 month ago. What can we do now? Okay. Okay, let's try.
So when the situation cannot get any worse, it's just like an absolute...
Yes, when the bomb is going to explode, they tell you that something is going wrong.
And then you have an urgent situation, but how do you stay relaxed?
I don't know, it's the Mexican way. You're just relaxed all the time.
Wow, that's really impressive. And talking about unpleasant things, is it easy to offend a colleague from Mexico?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, they are very sensitive. You just have to be always polite, for example, talking with a low volume of voice, not using bad words, be kind and so on, because they are very sensitive people. Yes. And if they are offended, you notice right now, you notice in the same moment, because they are not able to hide feelings.
How do you notice this?
You can see the expression of their face. They just stop talking to you. They just, go away, or as I told you, they cry, because when they are offended, when they, see someone that is screaming at them, they just, express their feeling even with crying.
But not with anger, as I understand.
No,
is it?
not anger. No.
So yesterday I was talking to somebody who is working in the agile approach in the Scrum teams, and a part of this Scrum work is like to have something like a retrospective, like a review every 2 weeks, for example. You meet as a team and you look back at the project and you discuss what went well, what could we change, what we did wrong and we need to change next time. So it's like learning the lessons learned, learning from failure, So I'm wondering how this could work in the Mexican culture, possibly.
I don't know if this could work, because now you have to approach the Mexican culture in a very different way. You have to take into consideration that European culture is very different from their culture. So you have to work in a very completely different way. And all you have to, rebuild everything from the beginning. You have to clear your mind and build something new.
How did you learn all this? Did you learn it by, trial and error?
Yes,
or did you have anybody
day
to
by
guide
day,
you?
make mistakes, understand that they just, don't understand what I am trying to do, or that they don't agree with my way of working, and so on. Day by day, stay with that.
You also work a lot with Polish people.
Yes.
You have many projects here. When you look at the way how we can possibly cooperate with Polish and Mexican people, but first I will ask you, what do we have in common? From your perspective,
In common, Polish people and Mexicans are so kind, really.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm happy to
No, it's so nice to have a personal relationship with Polish people and with Mexicans. This is what you have in common.
The personal relationship. Is there anything else that you can see?
Anything else, I don't know, because really you are very different. You are so, precise, always on time. It's very easy to work with Polish people, because when you ask Polish people to do something, they just do it, and they try to do it in the best way as possible. They try to meet all the deadlines, and so on. And Mexican people are exactly the opposite. You have to tell them everything that they have to do, otherwise they won't do it. They won't meet the deadline, and so on. So you are very, very, very different.
I also imagine that what we might have in common is really the family. In Poland, family is a very big topic as well. And we try to take care of the family by dividing the working hours and the private time. But maybe in Mexico the approach is different, so we would need to investigate how we can. There is a big value, the family is a big value. So how we could possibly, but isn't it the same for Italy? Isn't it in Italy? Family is a big value as well. No, we are those family cultures. That's the point. One more thing which I still want to ask you is about a position of a manager, of a boss. How is the boss approached in Mexico?
Okay, so as I told you, they have a very strictly hierarchy in Mexico. So for them, what the boss says is like law. they saw the boss like, something that is at an upper level. Okay, so we can say that they are scared from a boss.
Like a boss is like a big person, yes?
Yes,
Somebody
it's a very
really
important
respect.
person. You have to respect him or her. You cannot say no. You have to do what he or she asks you, and so on. For them, it's very important, the difference between the
Can
boss
you
and
ever
the
say
collaborator.
no to a boss?
I've never heard a Mexican say no to a boss. Never.
Why not?
I don't know, maybe because they are a little bit scared about the responsible, the boss. They see him or her like he is a very important people, so very important person. Sorry, so it's not possible to say no to what the boss asks.
One more thing which I still also want to ask you is about the, changing environment, changing circumstances, changing decisions. So, for example, what if, let's say, I cooperate with Mexico and I get a request to do something, but then it changes the next day? Have you experienced this? Yes.
Yes.
It seems obvious. I can see from your face. Sure.
Yes, we change the plan every day, more or less.
Why is it so? And how do you navigate around this?
It's difficult because, talking about work, they change a lot. Because there, the labor market is very, it runs so fast. So they can change work very fast. And this make plans changes, of course. And you have to rebuild everything from the beginning when maybe some key person just left the company. So we have to rebuild everything. And in a certain way, they are used to changes, so they just approach that in very easy way, like everything. They are never stressed. So also changes, they are used to changes, and they're not like stressed from this kind of things. But maybe also even because they are they are used to the changes related to bosses or responsibles and so on. It's not a problem to work with that in Mexico.
So when I, for example, receive a request to do something on Monday, and on Tuesday I receive a request to do it differently, what shall I follow?
But it's not a problem. You just have to call them and tell them, what, things changes. Okay, you have to do in this way now. Okay, no problem. And they change.
Okay, so it's really about calling again.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when you look back at this experience, 2 years in Mexico is a lot of time. How has it impacted your life?
My life changes completely. And I've been changed a lot since this experience. And maybe because thanks to this experience, I had the possibility to become like, more open to other culture, more open to other, way of living, way of working, and so on. So I really opened my mind a lot, and I found a new family in Mexico. I'm still in contact with some of my Mexican colleagues. They are real friends for me. So I missed a lot Mexico. If someone told me, okay, let's go to Mexico for, 6 months, yes, let's go. Even if Mexico is a very dangerous country, especially for women, I don't care, because at the end you can feel safe there, because you know that you have real friends, you have people that care for you. And so you can feel safe even if it's not a safe country. And it's a very, very good experience that I can suggest to everyone.
So when someone is getting ready to start cooperating with Mexicans, what advice would you give to this person?
Okay, try to change your mind. Don't think about European way of working, European life, try to change completely, try to, put the focus on the personal life, on the relationship, and just, try to build trust with them, and try to collaborate with them and work with them, not only ask them to do the work for you, but be the first to do the work, just to show them how they have to go on with all the tasks, all the activities, and they will follow you.
It's really about developing a relationship and working hand in hand.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Alessia.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. No i jak wrażenia? Mam nadzieję, że Wam się podobała ta rozmowa. Powiem Wam, że miałam troszeczkę wątpliwości, nie wiedziałam, czy nagrywać po angielsku taki materiał, czy nie, czy go jakoś specjalnie zapowiadać, czy nie, ale zakładam troszkę coś takiego, że jeżeli pracujecie w międzynarodowym kontekście, to z największym prawdopodobieństwem ten język angielski jest Wam znany. Chociaż na tyle, żeby sobie dla przyjemności takiej audycji posłuchać. My obie nie jesteśmy native speakerkami, tylko używamy języka angielskiego w sposób bardzo prosty. Wydaje mi się, że jest dość łatwy do zrozumienia. Tak w każdym razie mówią mi zwykle moi klienci i moje grupy. I myślę, że będę może to robić tak na razie, czyli nie będę różnicować. Nastawiam się na nagrywanie podcastu po polsku, ale jeżeli zdarzy się bardzo ciekawy gość, osoba, która może się podzielić jakimiś wartościowymi doświadczeniami, no to dlaczegoż miałabym się do niej odwracać plecami i ignorować taką okazję czy taką możliwość. Być może w przyszłości kiedyś tam odpalę jakiś taki serwis w języku angielskim, na przykład A Step Ahead. Dlaczego nie? Ale na tym etapie, gdzie jestem teraz, próbuję połapać końce i próbuję wystartować dobrze, zrobić taki dobry start z tym serwisem O Krok Do Przodu. Więc trzymajcie za mnie kciuki, a jeśli to nagranie się Wam podobało, to bardzo serdecznie Was proszę o to, żebyście nim się podzielili ze wszystkimi osobami, które sądzicie mogą skorzystać na tym, że tego posłuchają, a Was poproszę o może jakiś mały komentarz, czy podzielenie się wrażeniami, co to dla Was oznaczało, co zauważyliście, jak na tym skorzystaliście. Dziękuję ogromnie. Do usłyszenia następnym razem.